Greetings. Welcome to In Conversation with Trevor, brought to you by Heart and Soul Broadcasting Services. I go beyond the headlines and beyond the sensational. Today I'm in conversation with Dr. Ethel Mupambwa, the founder and Chief Executive Officer of Money Mart Finance. If you enjoy this conversation, remember to subscribe, like, and share. Dr. Ethel Mupambwa, welcome to In Conversation with Trevor.
Thank you, Trevor. It is my pleasure to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love talking to people like you, Ethel, people who've actually built something, rolled their sleeves and gotten into the dirt and done something. So, but I want us to start almost at the beginning. You come from a polygamous family. Talk to me about that experience and what that experience left in you, as it were.
Thank you, Trevor, for that. And, I always want to start with where I come from.
Right.
I come from Nembudziya, Gokwe. And when I sit in such platforms, I always say, Gokwe yazviita zvekare.
I like
I'm
that.
sure everyone knows the jokes that been thrown around about Gokwe. And I'm so proud of where I come from. And I remind people, this is also one of those things that come out of Gokwe. And Trevor, I grew up in the dust and dark streets of Nembudziya, Gokwe. It taught me a lot. My father was a businessman and a polygamist. And his stores were written Chiwara Stores and Sons. It spoke a lot to me. Where were the wives in this setup? Why sons? Then what more with daughters? If the wives are even excluded from this business. So that really got me to think a lot, even from childhood. And being in a polygamous family, it's survival of the fittest. You had to be strong. You had to push for what you want. More so if you're a girl child. Generally, in Nembudziya Gokwe, we grew up a patriotic society. They believed in men. They believed in their sons more than even us. So imagine you're in a patriotic society, in a polygamous family, and a girl child.
Wow. What a combination.
What a combination. So for me, from the word go, I told myself, I'm going to fight. This is the time that I started discovering and imagining what it is like, even being a grown-up woman. But there's an exciting story of my life that I would want to share. We were a big family, and...
How big? How many wives did he have and how many children?
4 wives.
4 wives.
Even my grandfather had 4 wives, if I can count them. But besides those wives...
How many children?
There are so many other children outside these wives I can count on. Recently, last year, we actually reconciled with one of our siblings who had not, so we're still counting.
You're still counting.
I'm sure more are still coming and we're excited about it.
Right.
It's good to be many.
Absolutely. Right.
So this story that my mother always tells me, it's exciting to me and it speaks a lot. So she says at one time, we went to school and the school now was sending out people out of school because of non-paying of fees. So unfortunately, I think my father would pay for the boys first before us. So I was sent out. And from that day, I went straight to look for my father. I told him I want to be a boy. Find somewhere where kids are changed from girls to boys. Because when I'm intelligent, I'm actually performing better than my other siblings who are boys. Why am I being sent out to school? It was the first time having to be mature enough knowing
How
to where
old were you? Do you remember?
I think they were telling me I was about in grade 3.
Grade 3.
Yes. And in our society, even in our family, we women were not allowed to wear trousers. So we knew it. So what then my mother did so that she eases this situation, she went and bought a trousers and gave me. So from that day, I started feeling, no, so I'm now one of the boys. You know, so from that moment, imagine, and my father knew from that day that if it's for me, my fees will be paid. And in my mind, I thought wearing a trousers was the thing that made me not to be sent out of school. So it really spoke to me. Even this day, as an adult, you know, I'm in an industry where it's more dominated, and I stand up. I think, and I still believe, women, we bring so much more to the table. And it has to be recognized.
Fascinating, because one would have thought that coming from this polygamous family, that you would be beaten down, intimidated. But the exact opposite has happened. Talk to me about that.
Like I told you, I just grew up fighting. Everything about me was a fight. I thank God now that I know it's a fight of faith. Yeah. So for me, I fight. I work hard, Trevor. I've appreciated this thing in my life that for us women, for anything that we do, we need to put twice as much effort as my boy-child colleague, you know. So I've registered that in my mind. And I've said, if this is what has to be done, I have to do it and make sure I change the status quo. You know, I'm known as a financial inclusion evangelist. You know, I'm so passionate about women. You know, 70% of women are financially excluded in this world. And from where I was growing up, I could see even our mothers would put so much contribution to the wealth of the family, but it was not being recognized. And this is where I'm standing up as a youth, as a woman, to say, no, guys, give us the chance, give us the time, recognize us. And in any case, if we empower a woman, would have empowered a whole family. I can imagine my mom is the first wife. I can imagine if it was the other way around, if it was my dad, a second husband had been brought, I'm sure he would run away from that home. But she had to stay and build the family.
I read something somewhere that your father actually wanted you to, had found a husband for you and you ran away.
Very true. You know what? It was, you know, in such a setup in a rural area and coming from a polygamous family. Like I told you, the issue behind then was for a girl child, she will be married and carry another person's name and not the Chihuahua name, my maiden surname. So to them, it was one of those things. So after my O levels, I had passed apparently. So he says, it's time up. Why would you want to proceed? But for me, I knew there's an A level. So I asked him, dear father, is this guy going to send me to A level? And he was like, it's his choice. You know, after all, you'll be now in his hands. And how will you do A level when you're supposed to be making babies? That's the time that I realized, no, I'll not even go and fight this man. If I failed to fight my father, I had to run away from home. And I had to go and pursue my dream. Fortunately enough, I had a sister who was already in Harare. So I just boarded the bus. You know, our buses in Nembudziya, they travel around 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. I arrived in Harare 2 a.m. We sleep in the bus until 4 a.m. and we find our way to where we're going. So I went back. I went to my sister and I told her, I'm not doing this. I want to go to A level. And after A level, I'll decide if I want this. But you know, the greatest thing then that happened after my A level, having passed, I had an A in mathematics. My father was excited. You know, he took my result slip. He would walk with it the whole growth point, telling people, look, a girl child passing mathematics at A level. That's when I realized, you know, sometimes, you know, Trevor, is because of the background, even our parents that they would have been raised up from. And when you show them light, they would even appreciate it. So I realized that even if he was alive today, I'm sure he will be sitting by my side today, telling the story, telling other fathers out there to say, you know what, you need to support the girl child. You'll be amazed.
Wow. What a story. What a story. Your first business was baking cakes, am I right?
Apparently, my first business was a small little internet cafe, Trevor, when I was at college. I went to Nrast. I go to Blawayo, and I'm coming from a family where I'll not be given everything from home. So I had also had to sustain in terms of pocket money and those issues. And for me, I thought I need to be able to make a little dollar out of this. So I opened a small internet cafe. I had to make people pay. I would make sure I type other people's assignments for $1 or $2, and I would always put the extra hard work. And then after college, this is when, you know, when we graduated, our economy was not really in shape. So I said...
What year is this?
It was in 2008. You know the story of 2008.
Yeah.
So I got, apparently, my attachment here I did at Ernst & Young, Zimbabwe. I was at Ernst & Young. Our hope was to come back to Ernst & Young and life would go smoothly. But it did not happen. Unfortunately, Ernst & Young could not take us back that time. So I then got a job at Firmside Management. I got at Wimby First Street as a porter. I did not mind that I had a degree. I wanted to survive. I was not going to go back to Gokwe at this point in time. You know, Trevor, I learned something. You know, whenever you put hard work in something that you do, people recognize it. I was a porter in Wimby First Street. I'm sure the people that I worked with would testify. Do you know, I cleaned Wimby First Street. I washed those plates with excellence, to the extent that one of the managers called me from head office, who would pass by Wimby First Street. They saw the difference and said, what education level do you have? I told them I have a degree. It was like, so why are you cleaning these floors and washing plates? I said, but this is the job that I got. Immediately, I got promotion. I became an internal auditor in Firmside Management because of the excellence that I would put in the cleaning of plates, in the cleaning of floors in Wimby First Street. Yes.
You remind me of something that somebody said, which is, work hard at the job you have, because your promotion to the next level comes from how much you apply yourself, rather than saying they're not taking care of me here. Exactly. You know, I'm going to lazy around until I get something else. Is that your sense?
This is the sense that I'm trying to put out there, and even talking to young people out there. I'm discovering in me now being a CEO of a fastest growing microfinance institution in Zimbabwe. I'm meeting young people who are demanding so much but not producing the results. And you wonder, you know, this doesn't match. This doesn't match. So that's where my first business was. Let me quickly move to the baking of cakes.
Before you move on to that, I'm going to ask us to take a break. So we'll take a break. Please join us after the break for this fascinating conversation.
We were not advised as a young people.
Right.
We did not find mentors on how to run this business. It fell fast. We just woke up.
Welcome back to this week's conversation where I'm talking to Dr. Ethel Mupambwa. Ethel, you're going to talk to us about your cake business. Please proceed.
True, Trevor. So I was now going to walk you through the cake business. Apparently, when I left Femside Management.
What was Femside Management doing?
It was the company which was managing the Wimbies, the KFCs then.
Right.
Yes. So now having left Femside Management, I had to find my feet. But one thing, I did not have confidence to apply for a job. For a good reason, Trevor. I was not this fluent in my English speaking. So the time that I would be told I'm going for an interview, I was not going to stand. It was also after a bad experience when I had been called for an interview at Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. I could not, I was just dumb.
You were scared, you were anxious.
I was anxious and I was not fluent in my English. My growing up, we were, Makaranga, that deep Shona, Watlaere, Gwendoguya.
Beautiful language, beautiful.
Beautiful language.
Yeah.
But the expectations of people when you're going for that an interview, and I thought, my goodness, how will I stand in an interview? So I had to avoid that and start my own business. I said, I'm going to do this.
Wow.
So I remember when I started.
So the fear of an interview experience forced you to start Cake Mart.
Forced me to start Cake Mart. It was also after then someone had referred me to Rocca, car rentals and tours. It was more of a referral, not even an interview, and someone had convinced the managing director that this young lady is good. The person that I'd worked with at Femside Management. So I avoided interviews at all costs. So now here I am, and I am in this bizarre, and I want to be able to stand on my feet. And I had actually, before Cake Mart, the manner that I had started into microfinance was it was a church setup. I was going to a church where I was in the club of raising funds for rentals and all. So a colleague from church of almost a similar age, we said we could do microfinance, giving people from church money with a small loans with a little bit of interest, and we did well. So we then said, why don't we take it into a full business? So we take it into a full business. I plugged out from Rocca. I said, I'm going into microfinance full time because it spoke to me. I could see that it can go beyond.
How did it speak to you? Talk to me about it. Spoke to you in what way?
When now we wanted to go beyond, to me, my mind was set. We're not going to do any salary based. We were going to get into that informal sector. We were going to be helping women. From that woman, we're selling tomatoes in Mufakose by the roadside. And for me, it was a pleasure going there by the roadside, sit down with that mom, ask her, so how have you been doing this? And they told me, I've been sending 2 kids to school with this small store of mine. And I'm like, so are you dreaming to get this bigger? And they don't have such dreams because in their mind, they're defeated, being told that you can't go anywhere. And I'll start telling them, you can become better. I would do my financial literacy lessons. You just need to manage your cash flows. Do you know you can get a piece of a loan?
Wow.
You can do a variety. So I could really relate my passion. Now it took me down the lane in Gokwe where my mothers would do such businesses, would go to the garden, sell those vegetables from our gardens. But we never got to grow. And now here I've learned finance. And I'm knowledgeable, I know better. So it spoke to me. So we did the first microfinance, which did well, but because of non-discipline, it was actually, Trevor, we were not advised as a young people.
Right.
We did not find mentors on how to run this business. It fell fast. We just woke up broke. Trevor, I used to drive a Mercedes-Benz, some CLK, a two-door. Oh my goodness, I could feel.
You had arrived.
I had arrived. It was so, the time that we got broke, I could, the courts, trying now to liaise with those people who had helped us through, saying, bring us back our money, sitting down with them, calming them down, trying to. I said, oh, okay. I learned a lot from there. So
from your failure.
From my failure of the first business, of the first microfinance, So now, that time when I was out of business, I was out of work, then I said, what's next? I need to make money.
Let's just park there. What had you done wrong?
For me, Trevor, I would say when I reflect about that time, I think we did not get guidance.
Okay.
And we thought all the money that's coming to us is ours and it belongs to us. We quickly lived a flamboyant life at that time. We quickly changed a lifestyle. We, that kind of thing as a young person, you want to prove to other colleagues you're in the same class to say, guys, what are you doing with your degrees out there? Look where we are at us. We are the ones who did big on finance. It was pathetic. It was pathetic.
But you learned the lessons.
We learned it the hard way. Yeah. And I say to young people, you don't need to go through that. Financial discipline for me, I strongly believe we should start teaching our kids from as young as 10 years old. They need that. I can imagine, Trevor, if we had succeeded the first time, where I was going to be today. When I talk to people, I think for me, I feel I'm 5 years behind from what I'd experienced at an early age. I could have done better. And also mentorship. We thought to meet people like you, Trevor, to sit down, who tell us, guys, slow down. There's more to life than this. And that time I was still single. Imagine a single lady.
Doing well in a CLK. So in 2014, having learned the lessons, you then founded Money Mart Finance. What is Money Mart? What does Money Mart do?
Money Mart is digital microfinance institution where we are saying we concentrate especially to women. 70% of our loan book, Trevor, is women. Yeah, we have a criteria where we think we need to give women than that we give to men. Imagine a scenario, Trevor, a woman and a man who are both getting into town to run that small business, that boutique, that whatsoever. For a woman, she needs to first make sure these kids have gone to school. She needs to make sure that the house is tidy. She can open the boutique at 10. But for a man, he's just looking for his trousers and out he goes. Already a woman, the time a man opens his shop at 7 a.m., by the time that I get there at 10 a.m., I'm 3 hours behind. Come 3:30 p.m., I have to be running back home. The kids are coming back to school. I need to prepare supper. I need to see the homework issues. A man can stay as late as 8 p.m. in that shop. So, you see, the skills can never be the same. So this is what we have specialized in Money Mart Finance. To see this woman with a different eye, sit down with her, understand her cash flows. And like I said, the Money Mart business was financed by the Cake Mart business. So the Cake Mart business, after I was out of work and out of business, I started baking. I did not grow up baking, but a friend of mine I went to school with said, you know what, you cannot be sitting. Come and see what I do. I learned quickly and I started baking. I tell you, Trevor, there's a year that I had a wedding every weekend in December, from November into December. We made money with cakes. But still, the passion was back into microfinance. So I had to pursue this microfinance. And the way that I started getting clients for the cake business, I used to stay in Cranbourne. I would, in the morning, I would sing my praises, getting into town on foot because I would want to save that dollar. I would print small papers in hair salons, taking my little pieces of cakes advertised. I was not even shy. This was a person who once had a business, who was once in a CLK, but I went back to my foot. I just told myself, in Nembudziya, Gokwe Nembudziya, would walk those distances following our father's cows.
Why can't I do it again?
Why can't I do it again?
Yeah. I'm going to hold you there.
Sure.
We're going to take another break. Please join us after the break for this fascinating conversation.
So in 2020, Trevor, I won the Africa Business Hero sponsored by Cake Mart, where I won $150,000.
Wow.
And for the record, since this Cake Mart competition has been launched, I think it's in 2019, 2018, if I'm not mistaken, I'm the only Zimbabwean who has managed to be in top 10, more so in top 3.
Imagine getting free access to the Newsday, the Standard, the Zimbabwe Independent, and the Weekly Digest for a full month. Well, you can, and all you need to do is download the Newsday e-reader app on Google Play Store or scan the Newsday QR code in any of the AMH print publications and start enjoying the quality content. Usasaririrewe, famba ne time, famba ne chokwadi, famba ne e-paper.
Welcome back to our conversation with Ethel. So Ethel, I wanted us now to drill down on Money Mart. Who are your clients? How much do you give them? Into which sectors of the economy are they in?
So in Money Mart Finance, Trevor, like I said, we are a microfinance institution, and our clients, we zero in the informal sector of Zimbabwe. For the big reason, Trevor, the statistics are telling that the informal sector is contributing about 60% to our GDP. We can't ignore such. We can't. So our clients are that person. Our loans range from as little as $100, as little as $100, up to almost $10,000. So now we just don't get there at 10,000.
Okay.
We walk the journey with you.
I see.
So imagine yourself, Trevor. I wanted to say you're that woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because we zero in and that, yes, most clients are women.
What are they into? I mean, are they, just talk to us, are they selling tomatoes, making dresses, cakes? What are they into?
So these women are in different sectors.
Right.
As long as she is doing something, a business that she's earning some income from. She's selling tomatoes, she's doing dressmaking, chicken project, she has got a boutique, she's into motor spares, she's into hardware stuff. So this is what we are concentrating, what you call the informal sector of Zimbabwe. Those MSMEs, this is what we are concentrating on. So apparently, I actually have a testimony of this woman. She was a go-go actually selling her tomatoes in high field there. And she was my client. I started Money Mart going into the field, meeting these women one by one. So she was selling her tomatoes. I got in touch with her. I explained to her. She told me she had sent 3 kids to school with that small business. I told her she can do variety, tomatoes, onions, potatoes, so that when a client comes, they get everything they want and they have to go. So she embraced that. So one day she got sick. So I said, let us go and visit Gogo. And one of her grandkids saw us coming wearing our Money Mart uniforms. And she started running in the gate, go. And I called the young kid, I said, how do you know us? She said, ever since Gogo started taking money from Money Mart Finance, we've never been sent out of school.
Wow.
I said, wow. Such stories are the ones, Trevor, that even in the years I was running losses, they keep me going. I just said, God, I will make it. So these are the people that we have. So what we do, we find you small. Say, for argument's sake, we start with $200, or equivalent. You don't have any books that you're keeping, but you just have got a business that has been running for 6 months, hand to mouth. So we come in there. We teach you what we expect. We teach you how to write your expenses, your basic bookkeeping. This is what we teach you. After we have taught you that, we give you that $200 loan. We see how you perform. We could repeat that loan amount again, see how you are going. So as you start getting the gist of it, some of them, Trevor, we have got our client who started with a very small motor space in Chitungwiza. Now I tell you, he has got branches in Marondera.
This is a lady, hey?
She's a lady. Yes. She has got branches.
What's her name, by the way?
She's Mrs. Kunaka. So she started that low, and we started. And there's a time when she now needed a sum equivalent to $1,000. We said, hold on. Now you need to separate the business from yourself. We need an accountant in this business. We need to introduce you to QuickBooks. We need you to do proper stock taking. We helped you hire a bookkeeper. We step into to that extent to make sure they grow sustainably.
So you don't ask for collateral?
For us, we don't really ask for collateral. These are non-collateralized loans. Yeah, they write affidavits pledging their television sets, their household goods. Yes, for them to have that responsibility to say it's a fallback plan. But our strength as Money Mart Finance is on the due diligence of the business. We see the cash flows and we see how much do these cash flows afford the loan amount that they can afford. Because truly speaking, Trevor, the manner that we are living in Zimbabwe, someone would need to buy bread every day, to buy that thing every day. So we try to take into account those expenses. So if she's selling $40 a day, we are taking into consideration the stock, then the dollar expenses, the transport expenses, and we see maybe she's only left with $15. So we say then the repayment should be $10, so that we also leave a room with this $5.
Wow.
So we then calculate backwards, what loan amount does she need? And we start teaching them the basics of even managing their cash flows. Some of them now, they're actually paying themselves salaries, teaching them to separate themselves from the business.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you started with 3 employees. How many do you have now?
Now we are counting 103 employees. We now have 21 branches across Zimbabwe.
Unbelievable. Ethel?
And we are growing this year. We are actually anticipating even more branches around Zimbabwe, Trevor. And 2023, we are saying more testimonies are coming from Money Mart Finance. We have turned the traditional way of doing things into digital. So you are going to be seeing our billboards there. Our clients will be now applying loans via USSD card. They'll be applying via Money Mart mobile app, to give that ease of doing business. You know what? COVID-19 brought something totally new to us. Our clients used to insist on us visiting them, going to see them. With COVID-19, we could not do that. And they started accepting us serving them through these digital platforms. And we are taking advantage of that. And now they'll be especially if it's an existing client. And we want also to give them this platform where they can record their expenses, their income, so that they really see that basic stuff on their phone. And they say, okay, this is the profit. My revenue is not the profit.
Wow.
This is the profit that I have made.
You're doing amazing work. Do you have other investors, or it's just you and your husband? Do you have other investors? Are you at liberty to share with us who these investors are?
Sure, we have other investors that we work with, and it's not just my husband and I in Money Mart Finance. It's a proper. Remember, we are licensed by the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. And for your own information, Trevor, when I started Money Mart Finance, I made it deliberate to do it right. I have a board of directors that I report to. We have our executive management. We have other middle management. which I listen to. You know, we sit down, we listen, we do our plans, we report, we do our quarterly board meetings, like religiously, and they are debated on. Yeah. So we have that.
So your RBZ has oversight over your business, obviously.
Yes, yes, we are licensed by the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe.
Wow.
A license, when I fought for it back then in 2014, it was something else. But look, it's also a learning point for a young person to say, when you are passionate, when you know what you're doing, you need to fight for what you believe. You need to fight. Because the tendency was for these microfinance institutions, they were being registered by ex-bankers. I've not worked in a bank.
But you're passionate about what you're doing.
I'm passionate about what I do. I actually tell people that I thank God I'm not a banker. I was not going to be as innovative as this. I think my mind was just going to be screwed.
You think outside the box because you're not a banker.
True.
Briefly walk us through, as briefly as possible. So which was your first school in Nembudziya?
In Nembudziya, it's St. Joseph Lunga School.
Okay, and then from St. Joseph's?
From St. Joseph, I went to St. Francis of Assisi High School in Chivu, where I was saying that my mother was a nurse at a Catholic clinic. You see, so I got then the opportunity, the fathers in Nembudziya talked to the fathers in Chivu, St. Francis of Assisi. So for me, that's when I then did my secondary school. So even for A level, I then went back to St. Francis of Assisi. From there to NAST.
What subjects did you do at St. Francis?
I did mathematics, accounting, and business studies.
And then NAST, you went to do what degree?
BCom Finance. I did BCom Finance at NAST. Yes. And
you, something that I've came across this first time, you are a certified digital finance practitioner.
Yes, I'm a certified digital finance practitioner, being certified by Digital Frontiers Institute, which is based in South Africa. So with certified digital finance, Trevor, I was now broadening what I was doing and say, what is it which is happening now? How can I put technology into this whole process of my business for it to grow? So I got so much in love, especially with digital finance. Now that the vision is for us to be able to make sure financial services are accessible by anyone, anywhere. How are we going to do that? And this is when I started broadening my spectrum, getting into digital finance, trying to access what are other people doing out there, people of my age, what are the other microfinance institutions doing there. I had to travel to Kenya to go and learn the other models that they were doing. And I came back, I said, this is it. If we are going to win as a nation, we need to promote this sector and upgrade them until they are formal businesses, which is something that is lacking. So at a point in time in Money Mart Finance, we demand a business to have a certificate of incorporation. Because it would have grown, Trevor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you start with them from the bottom. You've had an award from Cake Mart Institute. Talk to me about the awards you've gotten, particularly the Cake Mart Institute.
Yeah, in 2020, Trevor, I won the Africa Business Hero sponsored by Cake Mart, where I won $150,000 US.
Wow.
And for the record, since this Cake Mart competition has been launched I think it's in 2019, 2018, if I'm not mistaken, I'm the only Zimbabwean who has managed to be in top 10, more so in top 3, because I was the second runner-up in 2020.
So you got $150,000 US? I got
$150,000 US, which was really something that gave so much to Money Mart Finance in 2020. In 2018, 2019, we had been hit by the 1:1 issues for the exchange, and the loan book had literally swept away. 2020 came, COVID-19 came, and all those things. But something that I learned, when you're passionate and you put on that resilience jacket, you can never go away, Trevor. I am telling you this. And for me, especially in 2020, I looked at the youngsters I was working with. Money Mart Finance is full of young people. We are just a young team, I tell you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I looked at them. I said, oh God, this institution is feeding. Then I think we're about just 32 families. 32 families. What would they say if I closed doors? I had to struggle on. There's a time, Trevor, I sat down with the youngsters. I said, guys, these are the salaries that we can afford. I think I went for almost, if not 5 months, without a salary, going back home. There are times, Trevor, that you just go into that room, you will not even eat. You would rather let the kids eat. You just cry and say, what's the next step?
This is the experience of running a business in Zimbabwe.
This is the experience, Trevor. The journey is not as smooth, I think, as others then want to portray it when we see them out there.
So tell me, talk to the young people out there, young women who want to get into businesses with your experience. What should they do and what should they not do? If you could face them and talk to them.
Oh, to the young people out there, I always say fortune favors the brave. The first thing that you need to do, decide that thing that you're passionate about, the industry that you can get into, and make sure that you are an expert. I know there's this sensation in our country that you need to try so many things, these potatoes, this juta, this and that. Concentrate on something that you are talented in and be the expert in that thing, you know. Look for a mentor. You know, there's nothing that beats having to go and sit down who has been in experience with such thing or in business and talk to them what's next. And I want to say, don't arrive too early. We are going to drive these cars one day.
Right.
The day is coming. It's not yet here, but I tell you, it will come. It will come just one day. And the other thing, you need to have financial discipline. There's nothing that beats financial discipline. Guys, we have never buried anyone here on earth who missed 3 meals a day, even for 5 days. They did not die. Maybe they just grew thinner, and that was it. You can afford to do that. Put in the work. The sleepless nights, guys, I tell you, I was telling my friend that from the 1st of January 2023 to the 7th of January, when I celebrated my birthday, I was sleeping every day at 3 a.m. I never slept. I never woke up the day that I slept, I think.
That's a powerful message there. That's a powerful message.
I was working and I knew, and in my mind, if I don't do it, then who?
Wow. Discipline, isn't it?
Discipline.
Put in the hours, financial discipline. Don't arrive before you. What did you say? I
Yeah,
like that.
don't arrive too
Don't
early.
arrive too early. I like that. I like that.
Speed kills, Trevor.
Absolutely. We've been too serious for a long time. Let's have some fun now. I'm going to ask you 5 questions that are going to help people out there sort of get a sense who you are. So it's gym or dieting? Which one do you go for?
I'd go for the gym.
Really? Why?
Yeah. I feel good after the gym. Actually, I'm a marathon runner, Trevor.
Wow.
I ran this year. I'm targeting to run a full marathon of 42 kilometers.
Awesome.
I've been running 21 kilometers in the past.
We wish you the best.
Thank you.
Freshly squeezed juice or a glass of wine?
Freshly squeezed juice.
Why?
I've never been into wines,
Okay.
so as to say, but juice, yes.
Okay. Music or a book?
A book.
A book.
I read.
Okay. Vegetables or chocolate?
Chocolate. Oh my goodness. If there's anything, even Ken. You know,
Yeah.
I got a sweet guy, Ken. Oh my goodness. Trevor, I'm loved.
Oh, your husband.
My husband, yes,
Yeah.
where I take the Mupambwa name from.
How many kids do you have, by the
I
way?
have two.
2 kids.
Yes, a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Dogs or cats?
I think cats.
Cats. Oh, it's been amazing talking to you. And I know God plays a big role in your life.
True.
Talk to me about what God means to you.
God means a lot, Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
There are times that I look back, it has been God. You know, in our family, we believe so much in God.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, Ken is a priest of our home.
Ken is your husband.
Ken is my husband. You know, he challenges me. The guy challenges me. I actually tell people he's more prayerful than I.
That is good.
Yeah. You know, it has been God from the word go. We strongly believe in Jesus Christ, in the resurrection of the dead. We have understood this, and it's something that we are imparting even onto our kids, that you can go. In our home, Trevor, we never go to bed without sitting like this as a family and pray. Our kids do memory verses. I tell you, my 5-year-old can do that John 1 from verse 1 up to 16 by heart.
That's
you know.
beautiful.
So we take time to explain to them all these things, because God is everything. God.
You've already said you like books. Let's our viewers out there love books. What 3 books are you going to recommend to our book-loving audience out there?
Right now, I'm reading a book, How to Lead, by Robertson, where he talks, when he interviews and so many conversations with founders
Robertson,
and
what's
CEOs.
his full name?
Yeah, the first name
That's all right.
We'll find it.
Yeah.
So, you know, when he talks to the Indra Noise, the Bill Gates, you know, and you hear what other CEOs, other founders managed to get there, how they did it, you know. Even Indra Noy, she has not been a founder, but
Former
being,
Pepsi Cola CEO.
but being in that position, being being a woman, hey.
Which other book?
Yeah. So the other book is Leaders Eat Last. Yeah, we just have to eat last. I
By
think
who? Who wrote that book?
Simon
Sinek.
Yeah. So, you know, I tell you, I'm confident to say even to the public that I think my team is a happy team.
That's good.
I'm confident.
That's good to hear. The third
And the
book?
third book is The Leader Without a Title. So you don't need a title to be a leader. Be the CEO that you can imagine to be, even if you are a cleaner. Clean in the best manner, you as the CEO of
Be
that
the CEO
floor.
of wherever you are.
Yes. You don't need a title.
Yeah.
You don't need a title.
Oh, Ethel, this has
sure.
been awesome. This has been awesome. We are watching you with a lot of interest. Like I said, we love people who've actually built stuff, who've made the sacrifices that you have made. I think that's, and the space that you are in, building small entrepreneurs, the go-go's and the our mothers out in the townships and all over the place. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
We wish you all the very best.
Thank
We'll
you.
continue watching you. Hey, allow me now to tend to our viewers who are all over the world, who watch us on a weekly basis. Remember, we are out on YouTube every Monday. At 7 a.m. Central African time. To ensure that you don't miss out on any of these quality conversations, remember to press on this red button and subscribe, like, and share. We also read your comments and your suggestions as to who should be on the show. Thank you so much. We've created podcasts for all the conversations. We also have a website where all of our content sits, including our weekly newsletter. Until next time, cheers to you all.